A few last words about the entrepreneurship community and lifestyle. Assume if you got a great business idea or a great product or a great new business model, you will eventually find someone who's exactly like you. Fact is, and that's actually very daunting, and sometimes it stops you. Fact is, it really all comes down to execution. Again and again, we see a lot of when you look at the histories of a lot of companies and new ideas for companies, there was a lot of players out there, and the people who could execute the best did it. And that is why you're in business school right now, to execute well. You might also feel a bit daunted by competing up. You're just a small startup and you're competing against these big companies. And the fact is, the CEOs don't fear their big competitors. What they actually fear is those two guys in the garage, the iconic startup, doing a startup who are willing to risk, go do something very different versus the companies who will keep reduce their risk. That no company employees can do something that far away or that risky. Another good piece of advice is to partner up if you get serious about being an entrepreneur. Find someone who's complementary to you, whose skill sets add to yours. You often will see mostly teams of entrepreneurs, and it's like, and make sure that everyone gets to the office tomorrow at 9 o'clock, as opposed to if you're on your own just rolling in at 10:30, 11. Team up or hire with people better than yourselves. That's well known. A great saying is A players hire A plus players, B players hire C players, C players hire D players, and so on. So if you're good, hire someone better, and average people hire people worse than them, and that leads to a bad team. Also, mentor up. Find a group of people or someone, at least one or two people who are a few years ahead you can always go to for advice and mentorship, and build a board or find a few great mentors. If you go for financing with the Canadian Youth Business Foundation, they build in that mentorship. And our startup community is starting to really grow in Winnipeg. Actually, there's a little Free Press article there saying there's so many startups going up nowadays that they can't keep up with. This is COVF keeping up with the mentors. But that startup community itself is a great people to go bounce ideas with. How did you do this? How did you do that? Because there's a lot of that in entrepreneurship. I've seen a lot of students and a lot of possible entrepreneurs kind of this idea of standing on the edge of the cliff. They haven't fully committed to the entrepreneurial lifestyle. And we do celebrate when someone actually goes full-time into the entrepreneurial world by jumping off that cliff. But you always start thinking, how good is this idea? What can I really do this? And it's a big gut check. And this idea, can I be a part-time entrepreneur? Well, a lot of these people do that for a while. They have wait tables at night or have a sales job during the day, and they run that business to a point where they actually can produce revenue or can support them. And when do you actually end up jumping off the cliff? A local entrepreneur named David Lewis, I once heard him say this to a student: you jump off when you have more answers than questions. Like, you're not ready to jump off because you just don't know what's going to happen. Eventually, you go on this search and you learn and learn and learn. You start understanding things, and you actually know what's going to happen. And actually, the stress of not going forward with this great idea is greater than you not jumping into it or jumping off that cliff. And that's when you jump off the cliff. Fact is, the Canadian economy needs you. The Manitoba economy needs you, and the Winnipeg economy needs entrepreneurs to jump out there. Canadians are by nature risk adverse. We've always had that stigma of failure, of bankruptcy, that's held back innovative and creative economy in Canada, and we need more entrepreneurs. We also need to celebrate failure. It's actually they call it fail faster is my idea, and we need to not get too stressed out about failure. A lot of good entrepreneurs failed once or twice before they made that big, great company. We need you to be entrepreneurs for the job creation. We need, if we're going to be a 21st century innovative economy, we need people doing innovative work. And as Mr. Steve Jobs from Apple, late of this world, he said it's a way to put a dent in the universe, to build something of value. And one day, maybe a few years from now, you're sitting in that cubicle saying, what have I done? You still can't escape that cubicle world by becoming an entrepreneur, much like Neo did here in the movie The Matrix. So hope years from now you got a great company and you take an entrepreneurial lifestyle.